I cannot wait to get into this.
I was at the golf course when the news dropped.
I was on a beach in the south of France, and it was one of those moments.
You needed a golfer. Is anyone here a golfer?
Em's dad was there. I ran over, was like, look at the news! Look what's happened!
Honestly, I thought it was a joke.
And I've seen people online say it was like, where were you during 9/11? And I mean, is it the same as that?
Well, there is a connection. Hi, Liv.
Oh God. Okay, Jay Monahan.
I think it is like, to give it a British twist, the Conservative Party and the Labour Party merging. It is like Republicans and Democrats merging. These guys have been at loggerheads. Liv was born 18 months ago, and they have been against each other constantly in everything they do.
Yep.
And now suddenly, they're not just going to work alongside each other, cheek by jowl. I could almost understand, and we've talked about this before. Maybe Liv opens up and has a September to November chunk of the calendar or something like that. They're merging.
They are one entity. So, before we get into this, I'm very conscious that we are recording this on the 12th of June, and by the time this goes out, anything could happen. So I don't want to talk so much about details of what's happened because I think the details are changing so much.
Yeah.
I would rather focus on what this means for the sport, whether we think this is wholly a good thing or a bad thing, or how you feel, because I'm so happy that this has happened. I'm so happy.
Are you?
Yes.
There's a lot of professional golfers who are not happy about it.
Because the main winner in all of this is me and you, a golf fan. We're the ones that win.
Isn't it Liv? Who are the main winners? Because they get to own golf? Because they're basically... Liv is going to be, what we think at this point, defunct.
Liv's basically gone, I would say.
And the Saudi investment fund are basically, essentially...
Own golf.
They're buying men's golf.
Which is incredible, because when you think about... The Saudis have been after a sport for so long, and they've bought like Newcastle United, or they tried it with the F1, and they've bought bits of a sport. They now own male professional golf.
So I wouldn't say that's great news.
But given where we were, which is they were owning half of it anyway, and it was...
They had a thing up and running that was crap.
But it was, in my opinion, as I said from the start of this, the fact that all the best players weren't together anymore was ruining the sport for me.
Yeah.
The fact that I couldn't watch...
Watching Brooksy in the PGA was
brilliant.
Yeah.
I want to see Brooks Koepka. I want to see Bryson DeChambeau. I want to see Cam Smith on a regular event going up against your Rory McIlroys.
But what happens for
Tommy Fleetwood?
What happens for people who, obviously, you've got the Rory situation. You know, Rory turned down a huge amount of money. To not go to LIV. So did a lot of other people. The rumor is that Rahm was about to sign. That is a rumor. That might be absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
But that is what people are talking about. What about people who really object to LIV? They really object to the whole model. They don't want to do it.
Yeah.
What do they do now? Nothing.
When you say LIV, that's
okay, not
shorthand for the Saudi.
You're right.
The public investment.
LIV is effectively defunct when this ends. I think they're going to run through next year, right? It'll be the year after next year.
As of right now, there is no talk about LIV ending. LIV could continue on, but I think we all know it's going to end. From what I know, I say true on the 12th of June, is that the guys who took money to go to LIV will keep the money. However, when this new company exists, which is the DP World Tour, which is PGA, which was LIV, the guys who stayed true to the PGA Tour will have an equity share of that company.
Right.
So in a way, we'll get a decent slab of money.
Yeah.
So the Rorys who didn't take the 300 million or whatever Rory was offered, or the 800 million Tiger was offered, apparently going to get a share of the business that
it's just
made.
Really, I mean, you know, as a golfer, it's fantastic that finally something interesting happened in golf.
And massively interesting.
Say to all my friends, I told you golf was interesting.
It is a fun sport.
You see? It is fun.
Those guys own it now.
Yeah.
What, a bit of it? No, the whole thing.
It is fun, unless you're a woman living in Saudi Arabia, in which case it's not that much fun.
Less fun.
Yeah, weirdly, Saudi Arabia didn't buy women's golf because it involves women having to be allowed outdoors. I really don't know. I hate it. I don't know where they go with it. And there's a lot of people who are going to have to swallow a lot of anger and move forward. You're right. Of course, it's good for golf in future.
It has to be. This is good for golf in future. There's way more money now in it. So the sport will get bigger. It will get better sponsors. There'll be bigger prize funds for the players. This should really elevate the whole sport. And that's, again, rumours. as to why this has happened is because the rumours are that the PGA sort of had a feeling that they couldn't fund the lawsuits.
They were running low on cash, weren't they? I mean, running low on cash. You know, they only had 200 million or 500 million.
But when you're going up against the Saudis in a courtroom...
You have infinite money, yeah.
You're going to lose. And that's the rumour, is that the money wasn't there for them.
Yeah.
So now the money is going to be there via the Saudis to fund this whole game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. It is conflicting because the sport is now owned by a group of very wealthy men who potentially have,
you know, another element of that.
Morals.
Another element of that is that over the last few years, especially post lockdown, golf has been opened up to a whole more diverse bunch of people, not just men, more women, more people of colour. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of someone playing in London, which is an incredibly diverse population. Weird how when I played golf in London before the pandemic, it was just a bunch of white men.
Yeah.
And that is changing. You can totally see that. And women play. It's great. And then the sport is being bought. Just the men's sport is being bought by a bunch of men to play for loads of money. It just stinks a bit. But you know what? I guess over time we'll open some windows and try and waft it out and try and find a way through. I'm not going to stop watching men's golf, you know. But I just think it is a bit eggy.
And that's the problem. I struggle to see how certain individuals can carry on in the sport, like the PGA, the one of the main guys at the PGA, is it Jay Monahan?
Yeah.
This isn't his second name.
Yeah.
He was so adamantly against this.
He wouldn't even say live golf.
No, he brought the players in and said, you know, this is someone who died in 9/11. These guys funded that.
That's an incredibly emotive
thing to do.
And you don't U-turn on that stuff.
And he has done.
Yeah.
The CNN report when it went live was him sitting next to the guy from the Public Investment Fund going, this is all right, isn't it? He must have been paid. He must have been paid a vast sum of money.
Yeah.
And Rory, this is what I don't understand. And I'm a massive Rory McIlroy fan, but I do not understand how Rory can have this opinion on PIF and the money and Saudis, and then they buy PGA and he's like, surely all the issues are still there for him.
Yeah, he said that. I mean, he has said in a press conference, Rory said, I hate LIV. And this whole situation stinks.
But LIV is shorthand for the money that's now... LIV is not a thing. LIV is just Saudi money.
Exactly. So he said, essentially, effectively, my interpretation is that he has said, I hate the Saudi money behind this. Where does Rory go from here?
Well, it looks like he's just going to carry on, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
he's just gonna shut up.
I can't get my head around it. I just can't get my head around it. Maybe we should all just start watching more women's golf.
Well, there was a conversation for a while that maybe the guys who are so ardent against it will just go and do their own thing and set up their own league. But I'm like, we can't have another league.
No, that's not going to happen.
It's just not going to work, is it?
No, that's not going to happen.
So, in what it has been the fairest example of a good versus evil fight, evil won. Which is so crazy.
Yeah, and I think that, it is, to sort of echo, I can imagine what people are saying about us saying that, evil. Of course they're not evil. Think about the things you do every time you put petrol in your car.
Yeah, of course.
The oil. I understand there's big things behind it, and we're hypocritical to sit here going, they're evil, when they're supplying us with basically the blood that keeps us all going. I get that. But I just think that it's really shocking. That's the first thing. It's the sheer shock of it. Secondly, sports washing is a real thing. Sports washing is a really serious thing where people completely rehabilitate how they're seen around the world, so that what they're doing at home is forgotten. That's what happens with Newcastle, with the Saudis. That's what happens with Man City. Qatar were looking into, the Qatar World Cup, for example. There's so much stuff that happens, and their human rights is appalling. And it's like, I just want to watch golf. I don't want to have to...
I don't want a moral dilemma.
Also, I don't want to be morally superior. I don't want to sit here being all smug or morally superior.
Yeah.
But in this situation, I'm kind of forced to.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really ugly. So we're going to all have to do a lot of burying our head in the sand, which is what I did on most holes when I played the other day.
Yes. Cheers.
There you go. That's going to have to happen, because I'm not going to start watching golf.
Yeah.
Because, but at the same time, I guess we just have to hold these two ideas in our head at the same time.
And I think I want to caveat what I said with the good versus evil fight. I think that's how this is portrayed. I just don't know enough about it to go, the Saudi money's evil.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. I genuinely don't know enough about it to say that. But I think that is how this fight has been portrayed.
Yes.
As a good versus evil fight. And it is bonkers that the quote unquote evil has has won. And I just don't know how I would feel.
Money talks, man. Money talks.
How would you feel if you're Rory McIlroy and for a year you have thrown yourself under the bus for this idea of something, this thing called the PGA Tour?
Those, he is supposedly towards some kind of peak of his game at the moment, age-wise, maybe not in reality. But those meetings that he'd have gone to before a major tournament, a 3-hour meeting before the US PGA started, to talk about this situation.
To defend a thing.
The time he has poured into it and this vat of time he's poured into it, someone's just pulled the plug out the bottom and it's all just wasted. It's all gone. He must be absolutely furious. And it's not just him. There's a lot of other guys who have done it and they've had the rug pulled from under them. They thought it was a joke, like we all did.
Don't you think it's crazy that the thing that you supported then 180'd on you and became the thing that you didn't want it to... Like, that is an incredible story.
I feel like a Lib Dem in 2010. Just going, you know what? Actually, David Cameron, he is a good lead. Like, it's that thing of having to go, when I said Saudi money was dodgy and the Saudis, have a terrible record of rights with human rights, what I meant was golf's great. Like, it's impossible. How do we do it?
You can't.
And that's the thing. Also, who's going to come and watch this or listen to this podcast and go, well, no one's coming here for a clear moral compass. I certainly hope they're not. All I can tell you is how I feel, which is that I feel gutted, but at the same time, I really love golf, so I ain't going to stop watching it.
Because I think we do differ in that way.
You don't have morals,
No, I've got no morals, I'm just like, get all my favourite people together. Where's the money from? Doesn't matter, baby, look at Rory go. Preston Shamrock, Rory, it's great stuff.
Well, it's still got to get voted through by the panel.
But it will happen, it will.
But the board might say no, imagine that.